morning and many thanks for joining us on Ogtv AM News. I am Abeokuta. President Bola Tinubu and President Cyril Ramaphosa in Cape Town for the 11th session of the Nigerian-South Africa Binational Commission. The session aims to strengthen bilateral relations between the two countries, focusing on various collaborative efforts in economic, security and cultural spheres. The ongoing dialogue underscores the importance of the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa, with both leaders exploring new avenues for cooperation to address shared challenges and foster mutual growth. The Senate has passed the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for implementation by the federal government. The passage followed the presentation of a report by the chairman of the Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning and Economic Affairs, presented by Senator Musa Mohammed Sani. The Senate also tasked its Committee on Finance and Petroleum as well as Gas to investigate allegations of withheld funds by the NNPC, including 8.4 trillion naira in petrol subsidies and $2 billion in unpaid taxes. The allegation was highlighted by reports from the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Responsibilities Commission. The development comes following the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation saying it had received the necessary and complete documents required to verify the 2.7 trillion naira full subsidy claim by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited against the government. The presentation of Ogun State 2025 Appropriation Bill to the State House of Assembly by the State Governor, Prince Dr. Abeokuta, will hold on Wednesday, 4th December 2024. A statement by the Clerk Head of Legislative Service, Mr. Shakiru Adebakin, stated that the budget presentation will be a twin celebration as the Governor will take advantage of his visits to commission the newly redesigned Assembly Complex. According to the statement, the redesigning process saw a 45-year-old complex give way to a modern structure that could match any legislative complex across the world. The statement adds that the budget presentation would take place at the newly upgraded chamber of the State House of Assembly complex, Okemoso, Abeokuta, at 10 in the morning, while stakeholders, guests, and other government functionaries are expected to be seated at 9:30. Religious and traditional leaders, recognized for their significant influence within their communities, have been urged to take an active role in promoting gender equality and condemning gender-based violence to reshape societal attitudes and break the circle of violence. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Adijat Adeleye, made this call for action during a town hall meeting held in Abeokuta to commemorate the 16 days of activism for the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence. Adirunke Oladiri has the details.
Every year, from November 25th to December 10th, the world observes the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a campaign that aims to raise awareness and mobilize action to end all forms of violence against women and girls. Joining the global observance, the Ogun State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, in collaboration with the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, organized a town hall meeting with community leaders on gender-based violence prevention and response. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Adijat Adeleye, reflects on strides made while also urging for more effort to address the challenges that remain.
I urge our traditional rulers, religious leaders, and community heads to rise up to this challenge. Your influence is profound. It is enormous. Your platforms are powerful, and your leadership must transcend titles to embody decisive action.
UNFPA representative and guest lecturers made a call to action to build a robust framework to put an end to gender-based violence.
Community leaders are actually the duty bearers, are meant to be the voice of the government at the grassroots level, where they are to speak against gender-based violence.
And so we are preaching it to them, and we want them to become a change agent within Ogun State and its environs.
Participants discussed their readiness to tackle gender-based violence head-on.
We, the Bale, are doing it before, but we do not have any support. But once this program has been started now, that means we have nowhere to be able to report.
At least it's a good program. I believe this is just the beginning. So if they can sensitize more people, go to more communities, go deeper into the states, at least the menace will come down.
As gender-based violence continues to be a widespread issue in Nigeria, the 16th day of activism serves as a reminder of the urgent need for change, aiming to build a society where safety is not just a privilege but a fundamental right. Adirunke Oladile, Ogtv News.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Ludaisi Olemide, has reaffirmed the Assembly's commitment to combating gender-based violence in the state through effective legislation and other quasi-judicial activities. Olemide, represented by his Deputy, Honorable Bolanle Ajayi, gave the assurance today during an advocacy visit by the National Human Rights Commission to the state lawmakers at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the visit. Details of his report are presented in this package.
Host to members of the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, who were on advocacy to the Ogun State House of Assembly on combating gender-based violence. Speaker, Right Honorable Ludaisi Olemide, who spoke through his deputy, Honorable Bolanle Ajayi, noted that the Assembly remained committed to ensuring unwavering support in addressing gender-based violence while highlighting the importance of investing in awareness campaigns and educational programs, particularly in rural areas, to sensitize communities about the danger of gender-based violence and the legal protection available to victims.
Violence against women and girls will take the law up again. While some are fortunate enough to speak, many suffer in silence. Even if we do the, let me call it orientation for our girls, the mother and everything, in the urban area, what about the rural area? So we have to take our enlightenment or this thing down to grassroots.
He also promised the support of the state legislatures in promoting initiatives that strengthens women's rights and empower survivors of gender-based violence, emphasizing the need for a multi-sectoral approach involving government agencies, civil society organizations, and community leaders to combat the issue effectively. Earlier in her remarks, the coordinator of NHRC in the state, Mrs. Olayinka Odibe, said the visit was in commemoration of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence campaign, expressing deep concern over the alarming rate of violence against women and girls worldwide, including Nigeria.
We respectfully call on you and Ogun State House of Assembly to consider the following urgent actions. Strengthening legislative framework to ensure zero tolerance to violence against women and girls. This includes reviewing existing laws, closing legal loopholes, and ensuring that survivors have access to justice.
She advocated effective legislative measures to strengthen women's rights and invest in preventive and educational programs towards addressing the root causes of gender-based violence.
Moving away from that story, the Senate has confirmed the nomination of Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyide for appointment as Chief of Army Staff. The confirmation followed the consideration of reports by the Chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Senator Yaradua Abdulaziz Musa. The committee's recommendations were unanimously adopted by the upper chamber. Lieutenant General Oluyide was appointed to act as the Chief of Army Staff following the illness and subsequent death of Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja. The House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the circumstances that led to the mass retirement of 1,000 staff members of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The House also resolved to ascertain the 50 billion naira payoff earmarked for the settlement of the disengagement staff members of the Apex Bank. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Nkem Kama. Speaking on the motion titled Need to Investigate the Retirement of Over 1,000 Staff of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Associated 50 billion naira payoff scheme, Nkem Kama urged his colleagues to support rise to the occasion and show adequate interest on the matter. He noted that the House needs to probe CBN's announcement of a 50 billion naira payoff scheme to compensate the affected staff as part of its human resource reorganization strategy. The legislative also urged the Apex Bank to suspend further implementation on the retirement exercise and associated payoff scheme pending the outcome of the House investigation. This is just as it called on the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment to ensure that the rights of the affected staffs are protected under Nigerian labor law. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has officially signed the Lagos Electricity Bill into law. The ceremony, which was carried out at Lagos House, Alausa Ikeja, had in attendance the State Deputy Governor, Kadri Lamzat, members of the State Assembly, as well as the State Executive Council members. Governor Sanwo-Olu commended the State House of Assembly for ensuring the speedy passage of the bill, stressing that the bill will change the socio-economic value of citizens in Lagos State. It stated that the electricity bill has been in the work for some years, and now that is finally achieved, as Lagosians can be sure of a steady power supply. On his part, the State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Biodun Ogunleye, said the electricity law signed will provide an additional grid for Lagos State and also put an end to blackouts in the state. Ogunleye noted that the step taken by the government stands as a beacon of progress that will ensure uninterrupted power supply in Lagos State. The Lagos State Electricity Law 2024 is a comprehensive plan of Governor Sanwo-Olu's resolve to address long-standing challenges in the energy sector. We now round off the news with the words of Waldo Emerson. Do not go where the paths may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Not to forget that you can watch us live on Facebook at Ogtv and Ogun State Television, on YouTube at Ogtv Abeokuta, and on Ogtv website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. And for the latest news and reports, you can check us on this platform X at Ogun TV, on Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download Ogtv app on Apple Store and Google Play Store. And that wraps up the news. Many thanks for watching. Good morning.